that is the dominant color, or at least some shade of dark gray, something like that.
Could you do like a dark paisley or a dark shade of the hair?
You could. It wouldn't be the most common thing, but it could work.
It'd work great as a vest, though. You could. It's almost easier to do accents and stuff like that, like colors in a vest.
He has a
which is what I do. I have different vests in different colors, but I always typically wear either this coat or another long black coat. So it's just the accent colors that are generally more, not exactly as dark, but are more rich.
Okay. Yesterday I was actually in female EGA. I don't know if you saw the huge hat with the black ostrich feathers on it and the fringe and everything else. Yeah, you saw it. I was in the blue outfit. So some people saw me and some people didn't. I know for a lot of times it's, you see the more common suite styles, especially suite and classic styles with Lolita, and that's what's more commonly associated with Lolita. So when you see females a lot of times in EGA, a lot of times it either gets mistaken for like period wear, like I had a lot of people who thought it was a pirate, so I mean, you get like a broad scope of things. I actually had, the type of hat I was wearing is actually called a bicorn. The easiest way to remember it's a bicorn is it has two sides like a bicycle. And then you'll see pirate hats like Jack's hat from, Jack Sparrow's hat from the Pirates of the Caribbean, and you'll see his hat has three sides, and that's a tricorn. And then there's all different kinds of other hats that go into, you'll see other styles of hats and things like that in Lolita in and of itself. Sometimes EGA will occasionally wear bonnets and things like that, full bonnets or half bonnets, like McKay has. Yeah, and then you'll see bows too.
Full bonnet covers all of this part of your head, from here to the crown of your head, and then it stands out. And they're mostly wired, stiff brim bonnets. This is a floppy bonnet.
Yeah, you'll see them. They'll have like pleated ruffles in them and everything else. Think good examples of EGA is like we were talking about Interview with the Vampire. Think Claudia, think some of her outfits, because that's all, a lot of her stuff is Victorian based. And EGA is mainly period attire. Like what I had was actually pre-Victorian, and I tell people all the time the difference between pre-Victorian and Victorian is I wasn't wearing a bustle. That's really like the biggest thing. You also sometimes see Civil War influences. What I'm wearing right now is actually a little bit of fusion. It's like it's mostly Hemi style, but it's Hemi done dark. So it's princess style, but it's Rococo. So one of the things that I always tell people is if you don't know what Rococo is, think Marie Antoinette. So it's one of the main styles that you'll actually see in Lolita. So when you see a lot of Lolita, when you start breaking things down, especially even in suite styles, you'll break it down and you'll start seeing, well, this piece goes like this, so that's from Victorian periods. Like a lot of times in Victorian periods, cravats and different pieces and sleeves and stuff like that all broke away. And that was so that they wouldn't have to wash their clothes on a regular basis. So that's the reason why you see a lot of times in Lolita clothes, you'll see different pieces that can break away and make different outfits and things like that. That's why it's so much about...
Like, this is a jabot tie. It looks like a gigantic bib, but it's not Kurt, so it's not a bib. And you lift it up, and it unties. And it comes off, and I have just a basic... I don't know if it unties. I just have a basic collared shirt.
So she could wear that with something else, which was very practical back in the day.
Wardrobe malfunction.
We'll put the photo. This is our little spiel right now. The photo of Lolita girl. So. Yeah, no, but you'll see a lot of different styles incorporated into it. A lot of times, it's basically more about being elegant. It's a style more for older people that's actually into the Lolita fashion. I'm actually one of the older people in the group, so I tend to dress more EGA or EGL a lot of times because it's more appropriate for my age. It's like me. It's like I actually made a sweet Lolita dress as a joke more than anything else because
was it that pink and white one?
It was that pink and white one. It's like super princess style, and it was like it's more of a for me because I'm like getting. That's what a lot of people think. They think, oh, well, I'm really too old. I can't dress in this style anymore. Well, you look at, the male aristocrat style, and then you look at the female aristocrat style, and you realize that a lot of times the skirts are even longer. They go almost all the way down. In some cases, they're ankle or floor-length skirts. So, and they'll have pickups in them and different things like that. And they look way more formal wear and make way more adult than a lot of the suite styles. And so that's the reason why there's so many different subsets in Lolita that a lot of times you can have 3 or 4 different kinds of Lolita, and they'll all be sitting next to one another, but they won't, you'll have a suite on to one side. You can even have like a steampunk Lolita, and then you can have somebody that's country or sailor, and it's like there's like over I think 40 different subsets now or something like that.
There's so many.
And it keeps
Yeah.
growing. Like I mean, fashion, international fashion, just it evolves itself. And same thing with Lolita. It never stops. It can get extreme.
No, the accessories that you would commonly see in elegant Gothic aristocrat or elegant Gothic Lolita is going to be, well, elegant Gothic Lolita, it's going to be more religious based. It's going to be crosses and different aspects like that. You're going to see, you'd also see things like this would be appropriate for EGL or EGA. These would normally be worn during Victorian period, little fishnet gloves like this. You can actually get these like on Amazon for like $20. There's a lot of stuff like I made this. You can buy a comb. You can put feathers on it. This would be more. This would be closer to Rococo period kind of styling for hair stuff because they'd put like huge ships in their hair and all kinds of crazy stuff back then. Start looking at the photos. That's why the beehive throws people off. But when you look at the hairstyles back then, they were huge. They were ridiculously huge. This is actually really lightweight.
They were wigs.
Yeah.
They were wigs.
Yeah.
They're wigs.
They were fake hair.
Yeah, they were fake hair. You can't support 20 pounds of hair.
No.
Life anytime like.
No. Yeah, they had, it was crazy the way they styled the hair back then. But I mean, you'll see that stuff. You'll see it in Hime style too, because Hime is so based in Rococo. No, again, you'll get into, you'll get stockings or knee-high socks. It varies. I actually have stockings on. They have bats up them. So it kind of works. It basically whatever works with your theme. I've got platform demonia shoes. You can actually just buy these, I think, at Hot Topic and other places. Any place they sell demonia shoes at. They work for this style because they're more like baby doll style. So a lot of it's still, you still want to keep a little bit of youthfulness to it, but at the same time, when you're putting it together, it's going to be a lot more period influence. I mean, look at a lot of the people who do Society for Creative Reenactment and everything else. You're going to look at their stuff and what they're doing with Renaissance Fair and how very particular it is. It's going to be closer to that, but then you're going to want to add elements of Lolita into it. Like you might have, I was joking, I should have a little tiara up here. You're going to have stuff like that. You're going to have a lot of pearls or something like that. You're going to have a lot more period pieces. Like this is more of like a 1600s necklace. So this would be more something you'd see like King Henry VIII wearing in one of his pictures on his wall, or something along those lines. You're going to start, and a lot of this has really come back now, and you can get this eBay, Amazon, anywhere. So I mean, yeah, this is Forever 21. So I mean, never doubt where you can find something. And then this bow actually came off a bad 80s dress, and it happened to be taffeta. I just sewed some pearls on it. So yeah, and the bow actually is, it's got a huge safety pin on the back of it. I adhere to there. So I mean, I can take the bow off and put it on another outfit. That's what I tell people. A lot of things are interchangeable. So there's always a way to make it work. I mean, if I wanted to, I could have made this dress a two-piece, and then I would have had the top to wear with something else, or I could have just worn the skirt with another item, with a basic blouse or something like that. So it's really interchangeable.
Let me put something else in. You brought up King Henry VIII. Elizabethan and Tudor period styling is actually very prominent in EGA. I do the Louisiana Renaissance Festival, so I make period garb. Just think of like the bodices. I mean, her dress right now has the basic bodice shape and the basic bodice lines that create more of a triangle shape with a bell skirt, which is what for her, which is pre-Victorian style right now, kind of mixed with Rococo. That's what they were. Well, Rococo was before Victorian anyway. So, but that's what they were trying to get. So, if you're doing pre-Victorian, which is Rococo, Elizabethan, Tudor, you want triangle cone. If you're trying to do Victorian, you want hourglass and big backside.
The same thing can apply for a man's.
Kelly.
You want to go?
I forgot to mention something when I was talking about skirts earlier. Lolita, kind of I'm at a loss for words. Alright, Lolita skirts are a certain length. They're not short. They're about knee length. Mostly, it's around 2 inches above the knee at most. Or you can even go a little longer for a more for a more grown-up look, or just to be extra modest.
Is there a difference between like a Prince Lolita and a sort of aristocrat?
Aristocrat.
there actually is a boy style called OG, which means print, where it is very Prince-like, where like you'll see him with the crowns or like the outrageous top hats, the cravats,
And jacket.
the Prince-like jackets. Normally they'll have like little bloomer type shorts with stockings, kind of where it looks like they just walked out, or like they're the Prince of a ballet type, except for like they don't got the hats.
You see it a lot in anime styles. You'll see like a Prince style, like Prince of Tennis or something like that had something very similar with the bridge style.
Black Butler.
Black Butler, yeah.
But Black Butler would fall more under Kodana, which is more of the little, more childlike. You normally see Kodana a lot with sweet Lolitas because it's normally a younger style.
I think Newsies when I think Madonna. The movie Newsies, I always think Newsies because they wear the page boy hats too.
Which that is another example of Kodana. Kodana is there's so many.
It gets so broad, yeah.
Yeah, there's also, the four main ones are aristocrat, and there's also dandy, which is kind of more like casual Victorian wear, casual men's Victorian wear. They wear the shoes that have the nice, pretty Oxford lines and the white leather and black leather and slacks. They don't wear black very often. They're more neutral tones. They match classic Lolita more so than an aristocrat would match EGA.
So they pull from afternoon wear as opposed to evening.
Exactly. They would still have the same pieces like the
Same shape,
tailcoat,
but it would be
the tie, nice top hat, but it would, like you said, more like afternoon tea wear, which is basically what the Victorian influence is on classic Lolita.
From a historical standpoint, we wanted to look at, okay, what do I want to pull from? You go into the Victorian stuff, and there's the stuff they wore at night and the stuff they wore during the day.
Right, that's actually, I hadn't thought about that. That's actually a great piece of advice. For Lolita, for classic Lolita, and for dandy, it's more afternoon tea. Tea-length skirts, like I'm wearing. Afternoon tea-length skirt. Kind of goes hand in hand. Casual headwear, casual hairstyle. The men, the dandy, the neutral colors that look light and fresh, like if you go walk on a garden tour or something. And then for night, you get into the classy top hat and like
More
tuck
dark.
your collar in and pop your coat and stand there all nice and
Opera attire, basically, yeah.
there you go.
More stiff looking.
Yeah, and that does. But it's not.
Yeah. Flamor is actually something that we covered at Nichols in in art history class. What it was around the 1800s. It was middle of the 1800s in France. There was a category of gentlemen known as the flaneur who was kind of like almost a celebrity type figure today. He was always seen walking around, taking in the sights, just being a man of the town, of the city, just like almost personifying the city of its time. And that is a very nice thing if you'd want to look into that for a fashion for men around that time, because they are typically found to be wearing a very distinct, very formal, but also around the town kind of fashion. Next.
Yes?
Okay, so how important is underwear?
Very important.
Please wear underwear.
I got some boxers. I got a Walmart.
So if you want a bustle, what kind of things would you put on?
Well, I actually made one of my good friends, probably one of my best friends. I made her a bustle Friday morning at 8 or Thursday.